Oh, it's on the east side.
The construction of the TD Center and a bit about the kind of foundations of the bank. My name is Amy Korchinski. I'm the bank's archivist and manager of corporate heritage. So I manage a museum-style collection of artifacts, records, furniture, president's portraits, anything relating to the bank's history, really, including an extensive set of records and artifacts relating to the design and construction of these towers. The 54th floor is currently split between Canoe Restaurant on the south side and TD's Executive Suite on the north side. And with the exception of the Lambert Room, which doesn't have much furniture in it today because it's used so heavily for events, the rest of the floor is almost exactly as it appeared when the towers opened in 1968. Unlike major US cities, Toronto did not get a modern high-rise office tower until relatively late. The first of the original black pair of steel and glass towers at King and Bay Streets opened in 1968. The project was one of the last that architect Mies van der Rohe completed before his death in interest among fans of design and architecture. With TD Center, like many of his projects, every one of his projects, the architect paid attention to the small things. The floor is filled with countless small details that make it special and give it an air of prestige and importance. He was involved in the floor plans, the selection of materials for the interior, and even the design of the furniture. He even suggested to the bank the exact masterworks of European art that he felt suited colleague Marita in due course. So the origins of Toronto Dominion Bank go back to the founding of the Bank of Toronto in 1855. That was founded just over on Church Street across from St. James Cathedral. The building is still standing, which is incredible. And of course the Dominion Bank, which opened in 1870, the two entities merged in 1955. So in 1955, upon this merger, it quickly became clear that TD needed a new building to accommodate its growing staff and range of services. In the early 1960s, TD President Alan Lambert sought an innovative approach for developing the area. He visualized a modern complex that would inject new life into the downtown core and lead the way for further redevelopment. With this in mind, TD partnered with Kemp Investments in a joint venture to build the Toronto Dominion Center. TD and Kemp looked for a consulting architect with the necessary vision to make the center a focus of national and even international attention. They considered innovation in design to be crucial to the success of Toronto's most ambitious high-rise project to date, and they turned to Mies van der Rohe, now widely acknowledged as one of the greatest architects of the 20th century, whose minimalist philosophy had guided pioneering design for such legendary buildings as the TD Center. Mies had the opportunity to set the buildings back from the streets and place them on a landscaped plaza, a rare and open space in the heart of a busy city that seamlessly linked the towers through their transparent open bases. Mies died in August 1969, and since then 3 additional towers have been added to the site in the same style. In 2003, the City of Toronto designated the original 2 towers in Banking Pavilion under the Ontario Heritage Act, naming them an outstanding example of the international style of architecture and a landmark of the modern movement in Canada that set the standard for urban development in Toronto. So we are in the Thompson Room, which was named for Richard Murray Thompson. Mr. Thompson served as Alan Lambert's right-hand man, and he was the day-to-day TD's lead for the design and construction of these towers, the main conduit for information between Mies' architectural practice in Chicago, the bank, Kemp Investments, the developers, Cadillac, Fairview. There was a lot going on. So daily, he was pretty much always concerned with this project. And then upon Alan Lambert's retirement, he became the president as well. He's still living today, Mr. Thompson. Yeah, his portrait's on one of the photographs that's on this hallway here. Does anybody have a question? I have a prominent Canadian family, but not the Thomson Reuters family. I believe they're separate. Yeah.
I heard something about the flowers in the main green. Are you going to talk about that?
I wanted there to be yellow chrysanthemums in a round vase in strategic places, the connected spaces, right up here in the branch, in the lobbies of the towers. And the reason behind that is actually a very cute story. The only person living who knows why he chose that flower, people say, oh, this is White's favorite flower, but that's never been confirmed. Phyllis Lambert, who was heavily involved in this project because she worked under Mies in the Seagram Tower. She was an architect herself. She's the founder of the Canadian Center for Architecture in Montreal. I interviewed her once, and she said, I know, but I'll never tell. Which I thought was kind of hard. I was like, I'm okay with that. I can live with that.
Yeah, the tradition is kept down.
You can tell me when you go. It has been recently up here in the New Forest, and so I actually haven't seen the yellow up here recently. But yes, there are like every 2 years.
Project, quite frankly, was about the past history thing, the original project, like social media stuff about Toronto history specific.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll give you my email.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, A and Y.
Cadillac Fairview, who owns the Toronto Dominion Centre. So I'm going to speak to you a little bit about what it takes to look after these towers now, because you're getting lots of historical context in the other rooms. So in 2009, Cadillac Fairview realized that they had a good problem. One of our tenants, RBC Dexia, was moving from 77 King and vacating 17 floors. But they were moving into a new tower bar, so good news, bad news. But it really kick-started the revitalization project because there were all of these shiny new towers that were in the works for the South Financial Corp. And so, you know, we have this aging asset, and how do we stay competitive in an incredibly aggressive market? The revitalization project is, it involved reglazing, repainting, and a plaza restoration. So reglazing a tower, all of the glass on the tower originally was single glazing, which was really terrible for thermal efficiency. It's all been replaced from the second floor up with double glazed units now. So you pack up your belongings into boxes. At 5 o'clock, the crew would come. They'd move the furniture out 5 feet away from the windows, and then there'd be 2 people on the swing stage outside, and the crews on the inside, and on a standard floor they would change out about 16 units a night. This is not a standard floor because the units here, they had to do that over and over and over again because I can't remember, it's like 200 and something units per floor on this. And so that was not only belongings and furniture, but it's like computers. So basically the next morning when you came back, everything had to be moved back so that you could go back to work over the course of time, right? The other thing we did was we repainted the towers. So if you look at the towers, you think that they're black, but because of age, the paint is actually chopped and gone more battleship gray. These 2 towers have been repainted. You can only paint in temperatures about 10 degrees Celsius, so that took us 4 years to paint. This took us 6 years to paint. The overhead protection that you see now around this tower that you guys were probably lined up under is these 2 towers have to be painted. We think they have to be taken back to bare metal. How you do that on a high rise in a downtown core, I don't know, but it won't. Or in all storefronts, because they were very accessible, they were overcoated many times. So we actually did have to strip those back. So literally they used like a chemical that would make the paint look like lava peeling, and it would cut scrape off. And then each column was enclosed in like a shelter. It's so thick, right? Just something for you to notice, but I haven't pointed this out, but it also presents its challenges for maintenance because we have bicyclists, couriers, snow removal who nick everything, and at least everything's consistent. But some of the challenges that as an architect, when I was going through school, I never thought I'd know so much about elevators, toilet paper dispensers, heating, maintenance, things like that, right? Finally, if you take a look outside of the bath, you need a lot of sunlight in order for the plants to do well. So that, kill that. I was at a preparatory meeting with the City of Heritage, and we were talking about this project and what was coming up, and actually they were the ones that said, why don't you use the lighting layout of the pavilion? And we were like, oh my God, that's brilliant, right? So but in the end, that's what we did. So that pattern that you see when you're grazing, and the feather-friendly foam on the side, when you say the green designation,
you put it on your doors.
oh no, so all of those designations, so those are CF projects versus TDA projects, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a whole series of things that we have to go through these as well. And so, like, you know, it's like the efficiency of the HVAC systems, the air quality.
Around this table, and we take a look at some of the features of the room. We're going to get acquainted with the architect Mason Andrews' personal philosophy that God is in the details. We want everything to be perfect. So we'll start with the biggest detail, this magnificent table. So it's made of English. Oh, it's okay. As long as I know. So a pretty special place to get your wood from. The room is full of like secret cabinets and hidden compartments, and one of the coolest aspects of that is that the doors on either side actually slide really close to seal the room. So it blocks off the hallway from both directions, and that was to ensure confidentiality in the very special meetings that used to take place in here. If you look down at the stone, this is polished Italian travertine, very expensive material. It was obtained in Italy, made sure they were giving them all the best rock, and had the stone transported back to Toronto and assembled while he watched from the top of the ladder. So he was like the true micromanager of this room. They were like swung in before the windows were installed. Seems pretty dangerous for all involved, but it worked out. And the tree that was used, actually, yeah, there's only one. That was the CEO's spot, and he burned that by in meetings to summon his secretary to bring in water, assistance, so that was his special button. A little bit about these chairs. There's 32 of them around to a 36-foot long table. This is the Burno chair. Design. Hi everyone, welcome. I'm going to get started. My name is Maria. I'm the Collections Associate for TD's Corporate Art Collection. So TD started collecting art in 1962 with the development of the TD Center, not surprisingly. Mies van der Rohe, who was exceptionally focused on the interior furnishings of the building as well as the exterior, was really a big champion of TD expanding its collection. So at the time when Mies entered into conversation with Alan Lambert about the TD Center, the bank had about 30 pieces in its collection. And Alan Lambert went to New York and actually saw Chase Manhattan Bank's collection and was really inspired and wanted to expand on TD's collection as well. In fact, Mies was so dedicated to the interiors of the bank that he actually had correspondence from his office to Alan saying exactly what he thinks that they should buy. It includes Kandinsky, Pablo Picasso, Mondrian, and representation of Canadian abstract modernism. And this was one of the first pieces in the collection by Jean-Paul Riopelle called Composition from 1952. We also have here, you would have seen William Perehudoff and Jack Bush. These pieces have been on this floor since the floor opened. The Riopelle was moved so it could be cleaned and restored and reframed. But in fact, when the conversation even came up about moving its location permanently, we had colleagues who were just,